What if the warning signs were right in front of you and you had no idea what they meant? Pancreatic cancer kills more Americans each year than breast cancer, yet it gets a fraction of the attention, and that gap is deadly. The 5-year survival rate is just 11%. And here's the part that's genuinely alarming. 75% of patients don't recognize their symptoms until the cancer has already spread. But many of those symptoms had been showing up for months, hiding in plain sight, easy to dismiss, easy to explain away. Research from Johns Hopkins found that spotting just 3 of these signs together increases the chance of early detection by 68%. Today we're going through all 8, and some of them will genuinely surprise you. Quick note: this video is for educational purposes only, not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional for any concerns. All sources are linked below. Sign 1: dark yellow or brown urine. Let's start with something almost everyone ignores: the color of your urine. When pancreatic cancer develops, it can block the bile duct, a critical pathway that moves bile from your liver through your digestive system. When that pathway is obstructed, a yellowish compound called bilirubin starts building up in your body. Normally, bilirubin is processed by the liver and expelled through stool. When cancer blocks that route, your body tries to eliminate it through urine instead. The result? Urine that turns a dark yellow or brown, sometimes described as looking like strong tea or cola, even when you're drinking plenty of water. Most people chalk this up to dehydration. That's why it gets ignored. But if the discoloration persists for more than a few days, despite staying hydrated, that's your body telling you something is wrong. This change often appears before the more obvious signs of jaundice, like yellowing of the skin or eyes, which makes it one of the earliest detectable clues. Sign 2: upper abdominal or back pain. This one is particularly easy to dismiss because it doesn't always feel like cancer pain. When a tumor develops in the body or tail of the pancreas, it can press against the dense network of nerves and organs surrounding it. The result is a dull, persistent ache that often begins deep in the upper abdomen, then radiates to the back, creating a band-like pressure across the torso. Some patients describe it as a gnawing sensation. Others say it feels like a constant heavy weight. Here's what makes it stand out from a typical stomach ache. This pain tends to worsen after meals or when lying flat on your back. Early on, it may come and go, but as the disease progresses, it becomes more persistent and harder to ignore. The location, timing, and pattern of the pain are all diagnostic clues that doctors use to differentiate pancreatic cancer from other conditions. Sign 3: persistent bloating or early fullness. Your pancreas plays a central role in digestion. It produces the enzymes that break down the food you eat. When a tumor disrupts that process, you might start feeling uncomfortably full after just a few bites. This is called early satiety. It happens because the tumor can physically press against your stomach or small intestine, limiting how much food can move through normally. And here's the important distinction: this bloating feels different from normal digestive issues. It doesn't respond well to antacids or dietary changes. Your abdomen might feel swollen and tight even when you haven't eaten much. If this discomfort persists for weeks without a clear explanation, that's worth a conversation with your doctor. Sign 4: swelling of the gallbladder or liver. Pancreatic cancer doesn't only affect the pancreas, it creates a domino effect on the organs around it. When a tumor blocks the bile duct, bile begins to back up. The gallbladder, normally about the size of a small pear, can become noticeably enlarged. The liver can swell too, as bile accumulates within it rather than flowing through normally. This is actually something a doctor can sometimes detect with their hands during a physical exam. a firm enlargement just below the right rib cage. CT scans and ultrasounds can clearly show these changes. This is one reason routine checkups matter. Some of these signs only become visible to a trained eye. Sign 5. Unexplained blood clots. This one surprises a lot of people. But blood clots are one of the most overlooked complications of pancreatic cancer. The cancer releases inflammatory substances into the bloodstream that disrupt your body's normal clotting mechanisms, making you more prone to developing deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. DVT typically develops in the legs. Watch for sudden swelling, warmth, or redness, especially if there's no obvious injury to explain it. The danger escalates if a piece of that clot breaks free and travels to the lungs, causing a pulmonary embolism, which can be fatal. Signs of a pulmonary embolism include sudden shortness of breath, chest pain that worsens when you breathe deeply, and a rapid heartbeat. If you experience these, seek emergency care immediately. Sign 6. Recurring fever and chills. Fevers tied to pancreatic cancer can be confusing because they don't behave like a typical infection. They tend to come and go. Episodes of intense chills followed by high fever, rather than the steady temperature you'd see with something like the flu. This pattern occurs because the cancer triggers your immune system's inflammatory response, while bile duct obstruction adds additional stress to your body's temperature regulation. A viral fever typically resolves within a week. These don't. Recurring fevers, especially when accompanied by night sweats and general fatigue, that have no clear infectious cause deserve medical investigation. Sign 7. Deep, persistent fatigue. This isn't ordinary tiredness. Cancer-related fatigue is a different category of exhaustion entirely. Pancreatic cancer cells compete with healthy cells for nutrients, draining your energy reserves at a fundamental level. You might wake up after a full night of sleep feeling no better than when you went to bed. Simple tasks, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, start to feel overwhelming. This physical exhaustion is often paired with emotional changes, depression, anxiety, disrupted sleep, which can create a reinforcing cycle that's hard to break. Because it comes on gradually, people often attribute it to stress or aging. That's the danger. It's easy to rationalize away rather than investigate. Sign 8. Significant digestive changes. Your pancreas produces the enzymes that break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. When a tumor interferes with that process, your entire digestive system can be thrown off. Food may sit in your stomach undigested, leading to persistent nausea, vomiting, and an ongoing sense of discomfort after eating. One of the more specific signs, and this is worth paying attention to, is a change in your stools. When fat isn't being properly broken down and absorbed, stools can become pale, greasy, and unusually foul-smelling. This is called steatorrhea, and it's a direct result of impaired enzyme function. Alongside this, poor appetite tends to develop, because your body is struggling to extract nutrition from what you eat. This can lead to rapid, unintended weight loss and nutritional deficiencies. These digestive symptoms are often mistaken for irritable bowel syndrome or a stomach bug. If they persist without explanation, they're worth investigating thoroughly. So let's bring this together. Dark urine, abdominal or back pain, persistent bloating, swelling of the gallbladder or liver, unexplained blood clots, recurring fever and chills, deep, unrelenting fatigue, and significant digestive changes. None of these symptoms alone is a diagnosis, but together, especially if several appear at the same time, they form a pattern that warrants urgent medical attention. The pancreas sits deep in the abdomen, hidden from routine exams. That's exactly why these early warning signs matter so much. Because by the time something shows up on an imaging scan, the disease may already be advanced. Knowing these signs is how you get ahead of it. If you found this useful, take a look at our other health videos. we cover the warning signs that doctors say people most commonly overlook. And if you think someone close to you should see this, share it. It might matter more than you know.